People are centrally concerned with motivation, how to move themselves or others to act. Everywhere, parents, teachers, and coaches struggle with how to motivate those that they mentor, and individuals struggle to find energy, mobilize effort, and persist at their tasks. People are often moved by external factors such as reward systems, grades, evaluations, or opinions they fear others might have of them. Yet, just as frequently, people are motivated from within, by curiosity, interest, care, or abiding values. These intrinsic motivations are not necessarily externally rewarded, but nonetheless, they can sustain passion, creativity, and sustain efforts. The interplay between extrinsic factors acting on persons and intrinsic motives and needs inherent in human nature is the territory of self-determination theory. In this video, I am going to introduce you to the 6 mini-theories of self-determination theory as developed by Richard Bryan and Edward Deci. These mini-theories represent a broad framework for the study of human motivation and personality. But before that, let's recall the 3 innate human psychological needs postulated by self-determination theory, namely the need for competence, the need for autonomy, and the need for psychological relatedness, the satisfaction of which are essential nutrient for effective functioning and wellness. Now, let's go over the first mini-theory, which is cognitive evaluation theory. It states that you need to feel competence and autonomy in order to have intrinsic motivation. For example, if you are told you must do a task that you consider to be too hard, your motivation levels will be very, very low. But if you have the freedom to do a task you consider yourself capable of completing, your motivation levels will likely be much higher. This theory also looks at the impact of external forces such as social and environmental factors on intrinsic motivation. We usually think of intrinsic motivation as being all about our internal desire to do something. But can something outside of our control impact that internal desire? In general, if we're told to do something, our desire to do it decreases. Think about this. You are quite motivated to study because you are interested, but then your parents told you that they're going to buy you the latest model of iPhone if you ranked first in your class. How might you react? Would it become more stressful and less joyful to study, knowing so much was on the line? External factors impact intrinsic motivation. And in general, Deci and Bryan argue that providing reward for things you were initially intrinsically motivated to complete can be a negative influencing factor. You're sometimes better off without the award. Here's another example. A child loves to clean the house, so you start rewarding them with 20 pesos every time they clean the house. A month later, they refuse to clean the house without the monetary reward. You've just changed the situation, probably for the worse. Now, the second mini-theory is organismic integration theory. It looks at how we learn to enjoy tasks that we might once have only completed due to rewards offered. It's the process of going from extrinsic motivation to intrinsic motivation over time. Here's an example. You only do your homework to avoid getting punished by your parents. But over time, you see the value and importance of homework, so you start doing it by your own choice. What has happened here is a process called internalization. You moved from extrinsic motivation, only doing the task for reward, to intrinsic motivation, actually doing the task for its own sake. Organismic integration theory is all about trying to find out the optimal conditions for internalization to occur. The theory primarily believes that internalization tends to happen when autonomy and relatedness are present in the scenario. For example, you're more likely to intrinsically enjoy a task when you have free choice when doing it, or even whether to do it, and when you have warm, close relationships with others when the task is taking place. Now for our third mini-theory, we have Casuality Orientations Theory. It talks about 3 orientations that we can have. Orientations are just ways we look at things and behave in situations. Here are the 3 orientations. Number 1, the autonomy orientation. In this orientation, you are a person who is generally intrinsically motivated and feels a strong sense of self-competence. Number 2 is the control orientation. In this orientation, you are a person strongly focused on external motivations such as rewards, praise, and social status. You react strongly to tasks that you feel competent to complete and will give you relatedness or social connections, but you don't have much need for autonomy. Lastly is the impersonal or unmotivated orientation. You have general anxiety about your own competence and feel out of control in most situations, which leads to low motivation. Now the fourth mini-theory is the basic psychological needs theory. It states that you need to meet the 3 basic needs of autonomy, competence, and relatedness to succeed in life. It shows that when all 3 needs are met, you tend to have strong intrinsic motivation, strong self-esteem, and are well-adjusted. It considers both the satisfaction and frustration of competence, autonomy, and relatedness, with frustration representing a stronger and more threatening experience than the mere absence of its fulfillment. When satisfied, one experiences a sense of integrity as when one's actions, thoughts, and feelings are self-endorsed and authentic. When frustrated, one experiences a sense of pressure and often conflict, such as feeling pushed in an unwanted direction. When satisfied, one experiences warmth, bonding, and care by connecting to and feeling significant to others. Relatedness frustration can come with a sense of social alienation, exclusion, and loneliness. Competence becomes satisfied as one capably engages in activities and experiences opportunities for using and extending skills and expertise. When frustrated, one experiences a sense of ineffectiveness or even failure and helplessness. This theory is at the heart of self-determination theory and has strong implications for teaching, psychology, and even social policies, which should aim that all 3 of these needs are met for general social well-being. Now we're getting closer. Our 5th mini-theory is the goals content theory. It looks at the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic goals. Extrinsic goals are seen as goals that are outward-looking, such as wealth, looks, and adoration. When we say intrinsic goals, these are seen as inward-looking, such as a sense of community, connectedness, personal relationships, and personal development. The theory posits that intrinsic goals will usually lead to a greater self-esteem, well-being, and personal wellness. And last but not the least of our mini-theories is relationships motivation theory. It states that relatedness is central to personal well-being. Relatedness is about personal relationships such as family, romantic, and friendship relationships. The theory states that relationships are important for wellness and personal development. However, it also highlights that autonomy and competence are also fostered by positive relatedness, such as when a friend or partner encourages our autonomy and self-competence. Altogether, self-determination theory remains one of the most influential theories of motivation today. It impacts the field of education, social work, psychology, and public policy. It successfully dissects the components required for wellness and success, centrally highlighting that self-determination is the ultimate goal of intrinsic motivation. And with that, I'd like to end with a quote from Justice Smith who said, "Stay focused, stay determined. Don't look to anyone else to be your determination. Have self-determination. It will take you very far." Thank you for listening, guys!